Welcome to Russian Made Easy with Mark Thompson. Mark has been teaching students from all over the world to quickly and easily speak Russian. And now, here's Mark.
All right, welcome to the second midterm of these Russian Made Easy podcasts. If you remember our first midterm back in podcast number 10, you played the role of interpreter, translating the Russian you heard into English. Today we'll take it a step further, having you translate back and forth between the languages. So imagine you're in a sports bar in Kiev with your friend Jason. There's a Russian couple sitting nearby, and so you decide to introduce yourself. Let's start by saying, "Hello, my name is Anton, and what's your name?"
Здравствуйте, меня зовут Антон. А как вас зовут?
Here's how the Russian guy replies.
Меня зовут Влад. Но давай на «ты», хорошо?
He said, "Me they call Vlad." In other words, my name is Vlad. But then he said something we haven't encountered in these podcasts. It was a three-word phrase. Listen again.
Давай на «ты».
Davai na ty. We'll officially learn that phrase in a future podcast, but just for now, know that it's an invite to speak informally. Listen again.
Давай на «ты».
Remember,
Здравствуйте.
is a formal greeting, but this guy wants to speak casually. So tell him, informally? Okay.
На «ты»? Хорошо.
Then Vlad asks,
Ты англичанин?
he asked you, are you an Englishman? Tell him, yes, I'm an Englishman.
Да, я англичанин.
Say, I live in Liverpool, but I work in Odessa.
Я живу в Ливерпуле, но я работаю в Одессе.
Ask Vlad, and where do you work?
А где ты работаешь?
Vlad replies,
Здесь, в Киеве, в центре. Я работаю в компании Samsung.
Vlad's response started with a word that's new to this podcast. The word was,
Здесь.
Здесь.
here's a quick contextual phrase to help you get the meaning. Ever see one of those maps in the shopping mall? It has an arrow pointing to a red dot, and it says, you are здесь. So,
Здесь.
translates as here, in this location. So when you asked Vlad where he works, he said,
Здесь, в Киеве, в центре. Я работаю в компании Samsung.
here in Kiev, in the center. I work in the company Samsung. And Vlad says,
Кстати, ты хорошо говоришь по-русски, Антон.
so he said, Kstati, you speak Russian well, Anton. Kstati is a word that Russians use to change the subject.
Кстати,
In English, we say, by the way.
Кстати.
Tell him, thanks, and do you speak English?
Спасибо. А ты говоришь по-английски?
He shakes his head.
Нет.
Vlad gestures to your friend Jason, who's watching the game, and asks you,
Кто это?
so he asked, who is this? Tell him, this is my friend Jason. He's a lawyer.
Это мой друг Джейсон. Он адвокат.
Say, he's an American, but now he lives in Kiev.
Он американец, но сейчас он живет в Киеве.
He works for Apple. Literally, he works in the company Apple.
Он работает в компании Apple.
Now you point to the girl next to Vlad who's talking on her cell phone and ask him, "And who's this?"
А кто это?
He says,
Это Наташа.
ask him, "Is she your female friend?"
Она твоя подруга?
He says,
Нет, не подруга. Она моя девушка.
"No, not a female friend. She is my devushka." Now, you saw them holding hands earlier, so he must be saying, "She's my girlfriend." And he is. Though it's interesting to note that the word devushka more accurately means girl or young woman.
Девушка.
So he's saying, "She is my girl," literally.
Она моя девушка.
Say the word one more time.
Девушка.
Vlad then asks,
А у тебя есть девушка?
"And at you there is a girlfriend?" Of course, in normal English we'd say, "Do you have a girlfriend?" Tell him, yes, she's now in Odessa.
Да. Она сейчас в Одессе.
We've encountered 4 new words in this midterm so far. Let's see if you remember them. When we met Vlad, we greeted him formally by saying,
Здравствуйте.
and then he replied with this phrase.
Давай на «ты». Хорошо?
Do you remember what that means? It's an invitation to speak informally.
Давай на «ты», хорошо?
You don't have to worry about learning to say it just yet, because it's better if the native speaker makes the suggestion to speak informally. So we just want to recognize it for now. Then we heard,
Здесь.
Здесь.
imagine your Russian friend is giving you a walking tour of her city. You ask her, "Where do you work?"
Где ты работаешь?
Stopping in front of a bank, she points to it and says,
Я работаю здесь.
so she's saying, "I work here." In a cafe, ask the waitress, "Is there Wi-Fi here?" Note the word order. Here there is Wi-Fi.
Здесь есть Wi-Fi?
Then we heard,
Кстати,
imagine your wife comes home from shopping. You tell her about your workday, and then you remember that her mom called. You say, "Kstati, your mom called. She wants to know if we're coming over for dinner." So,
Кстати.
is a word that Russians use to introduce a new topic. Imagine you've been chatting with your girlfriend in her home. It suddenly occurs to you that her mom isn't there, though she usually is. So ask her, "By the way, where is your mom?"
кстати, где твоя мама?
Finally, we learn the word
Девушка.
a girl you're just friends with is your,
Подруга.
whereas a girl you're dating is your.
Девушка.
Say, She is my girlfriend.
Она моя девушка.
And now, here's your tip of the day from Russian Made Easy.
I could have written the dialogue that we're using for this midterm without including any new words, but I put them in there on purpose. Why? Because when you're speaking to people in Russian, you'll hear unfamiliar words all the time, and I don't want you to panic. I want you to get used to it. Often you'll be able to figure out an unfamiliar word from context and from the situation, and for the ones you can't figure out, well, in an upcoming podcast, I'll show you how to ask what a word means. That's all I really wanted to say for today's tip. Don't worry when you hear an unfamiliar word. Just keep listening and try to get the gist of the sentence. Chances are you'll figure it out a bit later. So let's get back to today's midterm. When we left the conversation with Vlad, he had just introduced us to his девушка, Natasha. So let's skip ahead in time just a bit. Vlad and Natasha have stood up and are putting on their coats. He's gesturing for you and your friend Jason to do the same and follow them out. He says,
Пошли.
which means, let's go. So ask him, where to?
Куда?
He says,
В кафе. Я хочу кушать.
that means, to a cafe. I want to eat. Tell him, to a cafe? Okay.
В кафе? Хорошо.
In the cafe now, Vlad greets the waitress as she approaches.
Здравствуйте.
She replies,
Добрый день. Что вы хотите?
then Natasha tells the waitress,
Я буду чай и блины с медом.
so Natasha said, I'll have tea and pancakes s miodom. We'll have to pay attention to what the waitress brings her to see what that means. Meanwhile, the waitress repeats Natasha's order.
Чай и блины с медом.
Then the waitress turns to Vlad.
А вам?
And for you? She's asking. So Vlad says,
Я буду омлет и капучино, пожалуйста.
so he said, I'll have an omelet and a cappuccino, please. Uh-oh, now it's your turn. Greet the waitress and then ask her, is there salad?
Здравствуйте. Есть салат?
She says,
Да, есть винегрет и есть греческий салат.
tell her, okay, I'll have the vinaigrette, please.
Хорошо. Я буду винегрет, пожалуйста.
The waitress turns towards Jason and says,
И вам?
again, that means, and for you? Tell the waitress, he doesn't speak Russian.
Он не говорит по-русски.
Say, he'll have the borscht.
Он будет борщ.
Vlad turns towards you and asks,
Антон, хочешь водку?
so he asked, Anton, want vodka? In 4 words, tell him, no thanks, don't want.
Нет, спасибо. Не хочу.
Tell him, I don't like vodka. Literally, to me, not pleasing vodka.
Мне не нравится водка.
Vlad then asks,
А пиво?
say, piva? What is this?
Пиво? Что это?
And Vlad explains,
Ну, Хайнекен, Будвайзер, Корона или Балтика.
say, yes, yes, I like beer.
Да, да. Мне нравится пиво.
Say, okay, I'll have a Baltica, please.
Хорошо. Я буду Балтику, пожалуйста.
Did you say Baltiku with an oo sound, by the way? If so, please give yourself an A+ for the course so far. But let's keep going. Listen to what Vlad asks the waitress.
Скажите, здесь есть Wi-Fi?
So he said, something here there is Wi-Fi? Try saying that, just those last three words. Ask, is there Wi-Fi here?
Здесь есть Wi-Fi?
The waitress tells him,
Да, есть.
so she's saying, yes, there is. Vlad then thanks her as she walks off.
Спасибо.
He then takes out his phone to use the Wi-Fi, but his screen is blank. It seems his battery died. He says,
Блин, мне нужен интернет, но мой телефон не работает.
He said, pancake, to me is necessary the internet, but my telephone isn't working. Blin, funny enough, is a Russian curse word. It's not a bad word, though. It's like saying, dang it. No one's going to be offended.
Блин,
Anyway, just for practice, try repeating Vlad's last phrase. Say, I need the internet, but my phone isn't working.
Мне нужен интернет, но мой телефон не работает.
He then asks you,
у тебя есть телефон?
so he said, at you there is a phone? In other words, do you have a phone? In 3 words, say, I don't have. Literally, at me, no.
У меня нет.
Then add, but Jason has. Literally, but at Jason there exists.
Но у Джейсона есть.
Did you remember to say ooh Jasonna with the at the end? Anyway, as dinner winds down at the cafe, Vlad suddenly asks you,
Кстати, Антон, тебе нравится джаз?
so he said, by the way, Anton, do you like jazz? Say, yes, I love jazz, blues, and rock.
Да, я люблю джаз, блюз и рок.
Vlad says,
Хорошо, значит, пошли в джаз-клуб.
okay, значит, let's go to a jazz club. But Natasha complains,
В джаз-клуб? Но я хочу танцевать.
to a jazz club, but I want to dance. Vlad turns to you and says,
Есть проблема.
There's a problem. Ask him, she wants to dance?
Она хочет танцевать?
He says,
Да, она хочет танцевать.
Yes, she wants to dance. Roll your eyes and say, girls.
Девушки.
Did you add an E sound to the end to make it plural? Listen to that word again.
Девушки.
That's the end of the midterm. So, how'd you do? My email address is mark@russianmadeeasy.com. And no matter how you did in this midterm, in my book, you still get an A, because getting this far takes persistence, determination, and motivation, and it deserves recognition. So consider yourself an A student in this class. I'll see you next time.
This has been another episode of Russian Made Easy with Mark Thompson. For more time-saving tips and shortcuts for learning Russian, head over to RussianMadeEasy.com.